So for this last video, we are going to be talking about graphing compound inequalities. So for this first one, I have that y is less than 2 or y is greater than 7. So it's always important to first look see, okay, which type is it? This one's an or, so that means they're going to go away from each other. So I'm going to graph my line. I don't really care if you put a whole bunch of points inside or on the other side. You can just write the two numbers and graph it from there. First, I want to look and see, okay, what type of inequalities are these? So these are both strictly less than and strictly greater than, so I know they're going to be open circles. So I'm going to start with the y is less than 2. So I'm really just treating these as two separate inequalities when I'm graphing. So y is less than 2, that means I want everything less than 2, so I'm going to draw this arrow to the left. Now for y is greater than 7, I want everything greater than 7, and I kind of see that the inequality is pointing to the right, so I'm going to graph to the right. And I see they're pointing away from each other. And so you don't have to go through that whole thinking process. You can automatically see, okay, it's an or, they're going to go away from each other. So you can just go ahead and put your circles and then draw your graphs away from each other. So just another way you can think about it. Okay, now this next one, I have 25 is less than or equal to a, which is less than 32. So this one's going to be an and, so I know they're going to go into each other. So I have 25, I have 32. So now looking at my 25 and that inequality next to it, I see that's a less than or equal to, so I know that's a closed circle. For the 32, that one's just strictly less than, so that's an open circle. And since this one's an and, I know they're going to go into each other, so I just connect my circles. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and try number 7 and number 8 on your own. Okay, so this is what you should have gotten for number 7 and 8. For number 7, I saw this was an and statement, so I know they're going into each other. To look and see whether it's going to be open or closed, I see next to the -4 that inequality was strictly less than, so it's open. The 3, I had a line underneath it, so I know it needs to include the 3, so it's closed. And then I just connected them since this one was an and. The next one was an or, so I know my graphs are going to be pointing away from each other. And I had less than or equal to -5, so I needed a closed circle. This last one was an open. Okay, now this last one looks a little bit different. It says x is greater than -3 and x is less than or equal to 6. And so this one has that and, so I know this one's going to be into. This one was just written a little bit differently. So I can kind of think of this, again, I can swap these around, so I have x on this side, 6 on this side, and flip around my inequality. And so when I'm graphing this, I know they're going to be connected, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of show if I didn't realize that. So I have x is greater than -3, x is less than or equal to 6. So starting with my x is greater than -3, it's strictly greater than, so I know it's open, and it's greater, so I'm going everything to the right of it. And then I have x is less than or equal to 6. So on 6, since it's less than or equal to, I know I have a closed circle, and I want everything less than it, so I'm going to go that way. And so I see that these are in fact going into each other like I knew they would. So instead of having two graphs kind of on top of each other like that, I'm going to go ahead and redraw this like we normally would and have them connected. So it's okay if it's written a little bit differently and it has the and, actually says and there instead of being written like this. It's still going to be the same thing. It's still going to be connected like that. So don't get confused with that and think it's an or and they need to go away. Just know it's still going to be the same thing. And I could actually rewrite that so it looks like this by having these switch around. So I have -3 is less than x. And then I can combine these two by just having -3 is less than x, less than or equal to 6. So this and this both mean the same thing.